Hey everyone! Welcome back! I am back today with more Steel Ball Run manga reviews, you guys. Chapters 81 through 85 today. I'm just going to let you know right now, this is going to be a rough one. I know we've been going through some rough ones. And, like, in a way, it's going to get better. And in a way, it's going to get a lot worse. Just strap on in and get ready for a ride. That's all I gotta say. So, I don't think we have a ton to catch up on from last time, but before I get into anything, I will just say, if you are joining me early today, you know just what that means. It means you are one of my awesome patrons. Thank you so very much. And as always, I'm sending up those big old hugs right through that screen. And if not, still, thank you for joining me today. I am glad you're here. I really do hope you'll consider supporting me that way. The link to my Patreon is going to be in that description down below. And if you're joining me on the YouTubes, I really hope you'll hit like and also subscribe for me. That helps me and my channel so much. So thank you in advance for that. Oops, hitting my keyboard. All right, guys, I don't think we had like a lot to kind of like dissect a whole lot from last time. We had a lot of really good examples of how this upgraded version of D4C is working. We're just getting like really beaten into the ground. Like it's just like, it seems like we're like right at the end of that last batch. It's so frustrating because it seems like we're finally like, oh my God, Johnny did it. Oh, oh my God, the golden rectangle. Oh my God, here we go. And gets his arm chopped off. And it's just, it was a weird place to leave it. I understand that. I really did not want to get like uneven again with the chapters, but I was very tempted to because I'm just like, that's not a very victorious place to leave it. And I understand that. But yeah, so I think the general consensus was just we're taking a beating, and it's interesting to see just what D4C can do. It's really frustrating just to know that like all of this is just like, it really is playing out like Valentine is this is his big moment. This is his big finish, you know? And it's like he's putting it to these like the bad guys of the story. And I think we even, was it last time? I don't remember. But at some point, I'm pretty sure I've said this in a review before, so I'm pretty sure it's not anything that's like still coming up. But if it is, oh well. But you know, Johnny even like says at one point, like, it kind of feels like we're the bad guys in this story, and you're the one that's like, you're the favored one. You're the one that's literally getting like divine favor. And it's so frustrating to see because like, it's not something that's exclusive to fiction to see like bad people get ahead in life. That being said, and I still do like very much maintain that Valentine is not a good person, I will tell you, because I've read ahead quite a bit now, like I'm almost done because of scheduling. I had to like triple up on some reviews and everything. So I think I've read through chapter 92 now. And let me tell you, you are not ready. You're not ready for some of the stuff that's coming. You're not ready for some of the stuff that's coming today. You're definitely not ready for some of the stuff that's coming later. Like that, I will tell you right now that chapter 90, I won't tell you anything about it, but I will tell you that chapter 90 I read before bed, and by morning I had convinced myself that I dreamed it, because that is the level to which I could not believe it. We'll just stop there. Anyway, for chapters 81 through 85, yeah, it's gonna get pretty real, but you know, I think that's pretty much all I had to say about the previous chapters. It's just like, yeah, we're going through it right now, you guys, and we aren't going to keep going through it because it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets better. Let's put it that way. So, all right, let's just go ahead and jump right into chapter 81. I thought this would be interesting. They start off with a little explanation of D4C and how Valentine is like the only one who can move through dimensions and others can't do it unless he's doing it first. And they also mention it's because of gravity. Gravity moves with him when he's moving through dimensions. Otherwise, he and D4C would just break apart. So they're kind of like manipulating gravity. And of course, the first thing I thought of, spoiler if you haven't seen part 6, but the first thing I thought of was part 6 and the way that gravity played such a huge role in like Pucci's ability and everything that kind of happened at the end of the story and everything, or at least leading up to it. So yeah, you know, it's interesting to me. So much of part 6 was kind of like a hint for what was to come in part 7. I'm trying to think. I was thinking of this morning, and I'm trying to think specifically. Like, there's a gravity thing. There's the other universe thing. There was something else I was thinking of too, but I can't remember what it was right now. But it's just like, it's kind of interesting. Like, you could really tell like where Araki's mindset was when he was writing part 6, because we already know that like he planned part 6 to be like the swan song to the original universe. Again, big spoilers for part 6 if you have not done anything with part 6. Probably should be a huge disclaimer before any of this starts, but I think most of you do not skip parts that way, but if you do, then spoiler alert. But you could really tell that he was already like moving into a mindset for this part. So anyway, I thought that was really interesting, and now we know like a big like actual physical scientific component of how D4C works. Theoretically, if anyone has a shot at stopping or defeating this ability, it would be someone who could wield gravity against D4C. Don't ask me where that leaves like Pucci against D4. It's I'm sure there's some really cool fan theories about that out there, because we know gravity was a big part of some of his forms leading up to his final one. So anyway, you know what? I screen capped this gratuitous, pretty shot of Gyro because I could, and because I wanted to, and because, because I love looking at him. And put a pin in that, please. So Johnny's getting wrecked, and Gyro pulls up, right? So D4C has Johnny by the throat. Gyro throws a ball, and it looks like it's gonna go for like the other people who are like taking all this other damage at first. And Gyro's just screaming for Johnny. D4C is going right for Johnny. And you're not gonna believe this, you guys. You're not gonna believe this. Danny shows up, and I swear to God, this time is actually like this is definitely Danny. Like last time, it was kind of like up in the air. Like, was that Danny? Was that just a rat? No, this is Danny. Without a doubt, now Danny is working for Jesus. Like I think can we just like say without a doubt now, like he's definitely an agent of Jesus. Like he's definitely an angel, a mouse angel of some kind. I don't know, but like this is too much. So Valentine notices the mouse and stops right before he's about to like slice into Johnny's head. Then he stops again before attacking Johnny because he notices like something about the train. And we find out like Valentine is being pulled towards the train. And at first he's like, oh, Lucy must be moving inside the train. And Valentine's like, how? Like she was not, but she was definitely like not breathing last time I checked on her. Out comes Steven Steele, bleeding, barely alive. Don't know how this man is even breathing, and he's carrying Lucy. So he begs Gyro to like, please get her far, far away from here. And Gyro's like, okay, I can only take one of you. He takes Lucy, and Steven Steele's like, please just take care of her. I'm counting on you. And I'm like, you know what, my man, you turned out to be a real one. I was so wrong. I was so wrong about Steven Steele. I will eat the humble pie until like the end of time over this, because he really did turn out to be such a fantastic person and nothing at all like what I thought he was going to be. So Valentine sees this exchange happening, and he goes to choke Steven Steele and like slam him up against the train. I don't know how this man is not dead yet, Steven Steele. Valentine tells him what he just did is pointless. He says, like, what are you trying to be, her father or something? And at first I thought was like, oh, you wouldn't like that, you predator SOB, would you? You wouldn't like her father coming in to protect her, would you? Because you want to, like, because you want to put your, ugh. So I was so mad. I was really mad reading this. So he says, like, you're hurting the country. She was the goddess. I want my napkin, blah, 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 blah. He's like going on. And he says he won't kill Steven Steele because he did make a promise, but that doesn't mean he can't make him suffer. And I'm like, somebody please save this man, because he really was a real one. Also, they mentioned that, like, the ocean is drawing closer now. Something to keep in mind. Meanwhile, Johnny's wound is moving up towards his heart. And fortunately, he manages to use his own ability to, like, deflect it away, because we know he can make, like, the bullets move to different places. But he mentions that Gyro's only going to have one shot at Valentine, because he finds the ball that Gyro threw, and it has Valentine's ear stuck to it. Remember how we found, like, the lock of hair before? We straight up got an ear this time. We straight up got an ear. So, and we confirm, we pan away to Valentine, who is indeed missing an ear. Seems like the kind of thing you'd notice. We'll get into that later. So Johnny says it was only halfway successful, but Gyro did manage to use the golden rotation again. And he notes that Valentine doesn't seem to be noticing it because of something. Finn to chapter 81. There's just so much going on in this one. Like, it's a continuation of just this, like, high, like, fast-paced action, kind of like, you know, we get Danny show up. Danny is a literal angel. We get Steven Steele coming in to, like, I honestly, I don't even know what's going to happen to this man. I really don't even know if he's making it out of the part. I hope he does. Yeah, I'll keep it to myself, because I know later stuff already, but I'm not going to say anything. But, like, he just, like, came in like such a boss. And the irony that, like, Lucy's been trying to save him this whole time, and he's the one to save her this time. And he just gets her to Gyro, tells him, like, please, whatever you do, just save this girl. And I'm like, you're such a real one, sir. You're such a real one. Seems like we're kind of starting to maybe, as our luck shifting. We got the ear. We know this golden rotation stuff is working. Are we starting to get kind of finally an advantage here? We'll see. So let's go right on into chapter 82, because I can tell you chapter 84 is, it's going to be a really rough one. I won't keep it moving. So, all right, chapter 82. We get a brief explanation of Love Train, which is D4C's upgraded ability that we saw he got once, you know, the corpse was fully assembled and everything. Basically, it just deflects damage and protects D4C, which we knew, but I thought it was worth noting, you know, this late in the game where we have, like, all these changes in forms and everything. I just find it interesting to put in, to, like, note anytime we get, like, an official explanation of, like, what the heck is going on. So Gyro notes that the ocean is indeed getting closer. Like, we have mention of that again. He says that Lucy's breathing and skin are starting to go back to normal, but he's being honest with himself. He doesn't think he stands a chance against Valentine. Apparently, the ocean is moving towards Lucy and will eventually just, like, envelop her, I guess. Like, she's drawing it to her. We know she's kind of been, like, the center, like, the focal point for a lot of this, all this happening. So he says he's gonna settle things with Valentine at the water's edge. And I'm like, you do that, babe. He says that in order to try and attack him, Valentine has to move his hand outside that light, that wall of light that's, like, protecting him right now. And if they're fighting by the ocean and he tries to hide himself on the other side using his ability, when he comes back, theoretically speaking, the way the water's moving, he'll drown. And I'm like, that's okay. That's wonderful. Let's do it. The variation of what could be on the other side when he uses his ability is so infinite. Like, water might not be there in the world he goes to, but then when he comes back, the water will be there, he'll drown, everything will be good. And he says he'll have a big chance to hit him with a ball then. So I'm like, I would love to see him get hit with a ball. So Valentine wants to know, like, why Gyro's on a horse.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And I'm like, sir, this is a horse race. I mean, I know not everyone chose to use a horse, but, like, it's a horse race. That's why he's on a horse. But we know it's also because the horse is very important to this whole like concept of the golden rotation. I think that's more what Valentine is getting at. But just to have this man who runs the entire country be like, why would he be on a horse? I'm just like,
Bruh.
Really making America look bad right now, sir. You really are. And we don't need that. We don't need it, trust me. So he's wondering why Gyro isn't running away. The closer Valentine gets to Lucy, the more powerful he'll be. He comments that Gyro is different than Stephen Steele. Like, he acts with some logic in mind because of his training and his upbringing. So, like, what is he doing right now? Johnny says he knows now that this golden rectangle power is definitely real. It very much is. And so meanwhile, Valentine notices that his ear is missing. He finally notices. Took him a little bit, but he finally notices. So Johnny is saying that Gyro doesn't know that he took Valentine's ear off yet, but now that Valentine has noticed, the next time is going to be differently. The next attack is going to be very, very different. So before, Valentine wasn't aware of anything with the rotation, but now that he's noticed, and he noticed the horse is involved, one shot is not going to be enough. Valentine is not going to let this happen again. Like, he's wise to it, and Valentine will try to kill Gyro's horse first. Finn. That was a short chapter. Finn. A couple of these, like, really action-y chapters are a little bit shorter because we get, like, so many pages of, like, and honestly, they're really pretty pages of, like, all the action that's going on. I usually only screen cap the ones that are, like, okay, you have to see this kind of, like, be able to see what I'm telling about, but so I think that's why like some of the action-y ones are a little bit shorter. In terms of this, so we know like Valentine got wise to everything. That's really not good. He's definitely starting to question like what Gyro's doing, why he's doing it, the way he's doing it. Not a good thing. We really don't want him getting like a leg up here, another leg up, because like for real, like this guy has every advantage right now. He literally is in God mode. So the fact that he's starting to figure everything out is not good. The water idea I thought was really cool. I don't know though, because like technically don't we know that he can like, I don't know if Gyro knows this though, but Dios found out that like he can use water. Like if he gets between water and like the ocean floor, like can't he use the ability again? Like he's between two things. I don't know if Gyro knows. And plus like if you're drowning, you might not be, you know what I mean? Like you might not be able to summon your stand that quickly or use that effectively. It's still a good plan. And yeah, so that's about all there was in this chapter. It was the two of them trying to figure out their next move basically. And then Valentine figuring out that he didn't have an ear. How do you like but you're here. How does that now, how are you not like, why does everything not sound right? I don't know. A heat of the battle, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it's not like all bloody and everything. It didn't like really injure his ear per se. So like, I get like he wouldn't feel pain. Maybe. I don't know. But like, would you not notice that like, I'm no longer hearing in stereo. I feel like I have to sneeze. No. I'm good. I'm sorry. That happened to me like 2 or 3 times in other reactions today too, and I keep losing it. So, all right, you guys, chapter 83. Let's move on through because we got so much to cover. Johnny is reiterating that now that Valentine knows, basically Gyro is in a lot of trouble. So Valentine says this will all come down to one move, but if someone misreads just one move, that's the end. Will it be Gyro that does that? Or like, and he's saying like, it won't be me. And I'm like, oh my God. So Gyro readies the ball, but Valentine uses the water to disappear. And but we knew he was going to do that. And when he reappears, hopefully he'll just be drowning. So Gyro says, yeah, but when he comes back, he'll definitely drown. And meanwhile, Johnny's catching up and trying to shout to Gyro like, wait, he knows already. It's too late. Valentine is starting to resurface and Gyro looks pretty shocked. Of course, 2 Valentines come back. So Gyro doesn't know which one to take out first, but he knows that one of them is going to go for his horse first. Like he's figured that out. Johnny screams to him about the ear. And he says that's like the one way to tell who is who, because one of them's going to be missing an ear. And I'm like, oh, that's smart. But Gyro's like, no, wait, that's not it, because the real main one now will be the one with the stand next to him. Like, don't forget, he trades off the stand every time he gets a new one. So that's actually really smart. And he says he did that to throw him off. He did that because, like, the one that took the ear damage is already, like, he's trading out his, like, old damaged bodies. Like, he gets annihilated, he goes and he trades off. So, like, if you go after the annihilated one, you still got the one with D4C coming after you. The annihilated one knew he was cooked anyway, basically, is how it's going. So, Gyro throws the ball and D4C raises his hand to deflect it, and it gets wrecked. And I'm like, yes, finally. Valentine's hand is getting wrecked too, of course. And he tells D4C to hide inside the light, but now he's getting wrecked in the face. And then we see something shows up that looks like a stand, but here's the thing. Way back. Like, way back. I don't even remember what chapter. It was in the early chapter. Like, we had just found out about stands in the chapter, in the batch, whatever. We see what looks like Gyro's stand from way back then. I think he had gotten a corpse part, and he had like a stand, and it was for like a really brief time. But we actually saw this, and I'm almost positive this is it. Like, it's the same one, and I'm like, oh my god, he legit, like, just earned his stand for real. What is happening right now? So Valentine says he can't believe there's a power that could cross dimensional walls like D4C. And his whole, like, what is Valentine's voice? I don't think that's what I meant to write. But he's like rotting and crumbling. Like, I don't think voice is what I meant to write. I think that's a typo, but he's rotting and crumbling, basically. Or maybe not. Maybe you'll see the screenshot and be like, that's not what's happening. But he's taking damage. So Johnny's like, you did it. Valentine's getting wrecked. Gyro's got the rectangles all around him. And Gyro goes to throw another ball. And both Valentines take out a gun to shoot at him. But the one gets wrecked in the face with the ball, and that makes the one that gets wrecked accidentally shoots the other Valentine in the face. Like, you can't make this up. And honestly, this feels like when Lucy was first getting, like, all the stuff was happening to her, and things were just kind of like starting to like happen to protect her or avert damage from her. And now we know that was the beginning of this ability. And we had like just these random things happening where like people are just getting taken out in the same eye. That's what it's feeling like, only like it's so satisfying because it now is happening on like, well, back then it was happening on our side, but like lately it's been only happening for Valentine, and now it's happening for us, which is so satisfying. I'm like, you can't make this stuff up, that he ended up literally shooting himself over this. Then he turns the gun on himself, but both Valentines fall into the water, and Johnny's like, okay, this is it. You won. You did it. I'm like, Johnny, why would you say that? Why on earth would you say that? Never say that. Ever. So Valentine's laying there with D4C, and Johnny's like, we won. But Valentine is still alive, and D4C is getting up. And Valentine's like, the one who misread the one move? Which one of us was it? And he gets up and he's like, it wasn't me. And Johnny's just like, oh my God, how is this happening? How did he just get up? And Valentine's like, is there another attack coming from that steel ball? Finn. We just leave it there. We took him out. Gyro had this amazing moment, and he just gets back up and is like, is that all? You got more for me? And I'm just like, fudge. Not good, you guys. Not good.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Yeah, so this one was, you know, had some really satisfying moments because we get to see Gyro being cool, making things happen, doing the golden rotation thing. Valentine's taking damage. Like, for once, it's really nice to see because he's been basically, again, just in God mode, not taking any damage this whole fight. And yeah, I just this Johnny, honey, baby, light of my life. Never say we would never. Don't ever do that. Don't ever do that. So yeah, so there's not a whole lot else to mention, I think, about this one. Just that it was really satisfying to just see Valentine get beat up a little bit for a little while after everything we've been through. I'm gonna hold your hand as I take us in to chapter 84. This is gonna be a hard one, guys. I'm here for you. You're here for me. We're here for each other. We start off with a brief description of Ball Breaker, which is the stand that we saw that I said looked like the one that Gyro had. Really, they never come out and say that it's like Gyro's stand, but it's happening because Gyro is using this rotation. And it looks like the one he had when so I'm going to go out on a limb and just say this is Gyro's stand. And honestly, Ball Breaker is a really good name for his stand. I'm not positive what the reference. I know there's a lot of AC/DC references in here, like Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap, and there's going to be more later on. Ball Breaker sounds like something by AC/DC, honestly, but I'm not sure. So somebody let me know. I'm sure it's a pop culture reference of some kind. But anyway, it's a technique that causes a rotation to be increased to infinity by the inclusion of a further golden rectangle from a horse running in the form of a golden rectangle. I don't know if I quoted this all correctly, but hopefully you're getting it. The Zeppeli family had researched it hundreds of years ago for the sake of knights, and it is a sealed throwing technique of the steel balls. It seems to be able to pierce through dimensional walls. And that's the thing, like if we could, this is kind of like, it's kind of like Jojo figuring out the time stop, you know, because like if we can somehow get on the same level and be like, now we can also cross dimensions, takes away a lot of the power for Valentine's side. So Johnny can't believe that Valentine just got up. Even though he's like, apparently he's aging really rapidly, and he says he'll hit one more attack. So it just occurred to me that this kind of reminds me of, hang on, I'm getting them confused. It reminds me of Grateful Dead. I'm just trying to, yeah, no, prosciutto. Because I always, for some reason, I get prosciutto and formaggio confused, just like the names. I know who they are, like, very clearly in my mind, but like just the names alone I get confused. But yeah, remember Grateful Dead, how it like aged people? He basically got hit with Grateful Dead. Where was I? Yeah, he's like aging rapidly. He looks so wild right now. His hair is like all gone, or like mostly gone. His face is all aged. And Valentine is telling Gyro that the wound is still heading towards his heart. And all Valentine needs to do is get back inside this fissure of light from Lucy, and all the bad things will get blown away somewhere else. So he's like planning his next move. So Gyro yells to Johnny. Gyro yells to Johnny, lesson 5. He's like, that's the one we're on now, right? And I'm pretty sure the last one was lesson 4. Johnny's like, huh? And I'm like, oh God. Oh no. Because this just feels like the beginning of a final moment. Gyro says he's always tried to take the fastest shortcut, but it turns out that the shortest route was a detour. It was the detour that was our shortest path. And he says it was because of you that we were able to take that route. And Johnny's just like, what is happening? What is he saying? And I'm like, I know exactly where this is going. So I'm just like, Gyro goes in with the ball. His horse is in perfect rectangles. But Valentine is now back inside the light. And we see Gyro's stand come out, and he throws the ball at Valentine. His stand is going towards Valentine's face, right for his eye. And Valentine's he's just like, what is this incredible energy? Like, he can't even believe that this exists. Like, he is taken aback by this, that somebody can do this. But he knows that Gyro is pretty much at his limit, too. That's when we see D4C's hand goes right through Gyro. Just like donuts him, just like we've seen so many times before. And Valentine says it was him that was one move ahead, just like he thought. So he says that Gyro used the light to read what direction he was hiding in, but when he threw the ball, it passed right over the light's fissure line. He says this was a total coincidence, and if it hadn't done that, D4C would have been done for sure. But he uses this to reaffirm that, like, oh, the goddess is real. She really is on my side. And I'm just like, I'm so done at this point. Because, like, as soon as you see someone get a hand through their stomach, we've been here before, you guys. We know this isn't our first rodeo. We know what's going on. You don't come back. I think the only one who came back from getting donated was Koichi. He's, like, the only one. So apparently a small part of the ball was scraped off by the light fissure, meaning that it wasn't a perfect rotation anymore. It wasn't a perfect sphere. It was like a sphere, not spear. It wasn't a perfect sphere. And I think he mentions like it was like an elliptical, like it wasn't like the perfect shape anymore. He said it was because he tried to save Lucy and had her on the horse in the first place that this happened, which is just like kicking us when we're down. Johnny's like, what on earth is he talking about? Gyro's bleeding really, really bad. He's trying to still use the ball, but like he's in bad shape, you guys. He's wrecked. The ball falls and he falls off his horse. And there's just this close-up of like complete despair in Johnny's eyes. Like, I always joke about like the face shots and everything, but like this one, when they say a picture's worth 1,000 words, this is like what they're talking about, because you can't describe what's in his eyes right there. So he's still clutching, Johnny's still clutching the ball he picked up earlier. And he's thinking back to when he first met Gyro. And, oh man, Gyro mentions in the flashback that the #1 cause of death is getting a disease from mosquitoes, which I didn't remember he said that at all, but it's so wild in light of like Johnny's recent confession about the fetish. And the second is getting kicked by a horse. And I want you to remember that, because it kind of seems like we're just thinking back to like when we first met him, and we are, but put a pin in that for later. So he's thinking back to all the times that Gyro helped him, was trying to help him figure something out, was encouraging him. He sees like Marco and his dad and everything. And we see his teddy bear. And he's explaining, we see him explaining the golden rectangle. And finally we see an exchange with him and Johnny when they first met Lucy that like we hadn't seen before. So Johnny wants to know, like, remember how Gyro said like women aren't allowed on my horse? And I was like rolling my eyes at this because I'm just like, okay, it's 1890. He's being like that, you know? Like, I love him, but So Johnny asks him, why can't women ride on your horse? And Gyro says, it's because the goddess of victory is already riding on my saddle. And like, I can't have some other woman riding on it or she'd be jealous, right? And I just like, I need a tissue, I'm sorry. Of course, like, I had assumed the worst about him, that he was just being, like, kind of a jerk or something, or just, I don't know, just being not nice to women. And we know he has a habit of maybe not being super nice to women sometimes, but, like, that really wasn't it at all. It was just kind of like this superstition or this, you know. And here's what's wild, because we know, like, Lucy is now, like, a goddess and all this. He actually says, I wonder if Lucy here is a goddess. And it's just, it's so ironic considering how and where he died. With her really being actually kind of a goddess and being on his horse. Like, first of all, him breaking down and letting her on the horse, because he said a woman could never ride on his horse. And this whole concept that, like, it's because the goddess rides on my horse, and, like, she was with him on the horse. I just, like, I just can't. And, like, this was so awful to read through, but God, when this gets animated, I'm telling you right now, it's gonna break everyone's heart so bad. It's already heartbreaking, but, like, seeing this animated with the music, with the pacing, with all the flashbacks and everything, you guys, I don't know, it might be right up there with, like, saddest Jojo death. And I'm including that with Narancia, and you know how, like, Narancia broke me. Okay. There's still a little bit left, so we gotta get through it. We see him, like, saying, or almost kind of like, it's more like narrating, like, his final thoughts. Like, this is how it is. When a tennis ball bounces off the top of the net, no one knows which side it's going to fall on. And he says it's at that time that you want a goddess with you. That way, wherever it lands, you can make sense of it. And we're just kind of, like, hearing the echo of, like, his father's words to him. And now it makes so much more sense in light of everything that's going on. And Valentine is just coming towards Johnny and telling him he's next. Gyro's laying there in the water, and Johnny's just screaming. Finn. That was such a hard one to get through. When I was reading that in bed, I was trying so hard not to, like, wake Buffy or just be generally obnoxious. And I was just, like, shaking, trying not to cry. And eventually I just had to let it out because, like, I knew it was coming. I knew. As soon as he started saying death flag stuff in, like, the last couple chapters, I'm like, I knew it was going to be him or Johnny. Because it's not off the table that Johnny will not make it out of this part. I'll be perfectly honest with you. Jonathan did not make it out of his part. Although, at this rate, I'm like, I think that would be a super big kick in the head that, like, none of them made it out. Because, like, we don't really have, like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not done with the part yet, but, like, at least when Jonathan died, like, you had the promise of, like, you know, Erina was gonna go on and have their baby, and, like, Speedwagon was still around. Like, who are we? Like, I'm pretty sure, like, everyone is gone now. Like, it's just Johnny. If we lose Johnny at the end, that's gonna be way, way, way too sad. But I knew it was gonna be one of them. I knew the way they were talking during that whole thing with, like, don't tell anyone my name and everything. I'm like, God bless it. I gotta tell you, I know I really should have known. Based on his name and everything. And just the way they kind of been building it up the last few chapters. I was so hoping he would. I could just picture him one day with Johnny's kids and being like the fun, silly uncle and, like, the kooky uncle and everything. Like, oh, it's so unfair. So unfair. As soon as he started with lesson 5, I'm like, we're done. We're cooked. We're absolutely done. I, like, just held my breath and, like, started shaking the whole time I was reading it. And I've read it twice now and talked about it, and it does not get easier at all. I just feel so bad for Johnny now because he's totally alone. It just feels like he's totally alone. Like, all the times we've seen Gyro be there for him, he's, like, always there for him when he needs him. And now Johnny's alone. And I feel awful for him. Other highlights of this. Gyro he went in like a boss. He really did. The irony that it was Lucy being there that made it so that his rotation was not perfect. But I know that Gyro still would have wanted her there. First of all, because when that ball's gonna land, you want that goddess with you. And also, like, he made up his mind a long while back to, like, save Lucy. He might not have been sweet and fluffy to her at first, but, like, it's been their goal for a long time now to, like, save her. And I know he wouldn't have had it any different to, like, have her there. Oh, man. Oh, I knew that was going to be a rough one. For those of you who didn't know that was coming, I'm so sorry. Hugs to you. I'm sending you lots of love. For those of you who did know it was coming and knew that I had it to come up on, also hugs, because I need them. But yeah, this was just, I don't even really know what to say, because I think it all kind of speaks for itself, that, like, the flashback, everything. You know, I think of a few chapters back when we had Diego's death. I feel like some of us were saying, like, you know, the deaths have been really, really quick. Like, there wasn't even, like, there wasn't even time to, like, process that, or, like, you know, I know he wasn't exactly a bro, but even to, like, have, like, the emotional weight to it and everything, because he was still kind of a little bit, there were so many times when, like, it could have gone either way, that he could have been a bro, and, like, we still got a really emotional backstory for him. We just, like, we didn't get a lot of time for, like, his death to breathe. And Gyro's death was, it breathed a lot. The flashbacks, remember some of those flashbacks. So I know the goddess one makes sense now, but the one about the, you're not gonna believe how some of these come back, and, like, his words from his dad coming back. I couldn't help but think about, like, his family back home, because I know his dad was a complicated man. I know he was not really, again, sweet and fluffy, but I really do believe that, like, he, in his own way, was kind of an honorable man, and I really believe that he truly did care about Gyro. Whether they saw eye to eye on how to handle the situation or not, like, knowing that he's not going home, it's just really, really hard. I don't know what's gonna happen to Margot now. I don't. So yeah. So that was chapter 84, you guys. Chapter 85. Let's just go right in, because this is not gonna get any easier. So the first thing we see, on top of everything, Donut's him. He falls off the horse. Valentine just straight up shoots him in the head. Like, because, you know, you might have been like me and you might have been wondering, like, well, wait, we got flash foam. We've seen Gyro get some horrible wounds, right? And Johnny, too. He just shoots him. I am, like, at this point, especially, there is stuff coming with Valentine later that I think is interesting and adds a little bit to his character. However, at this point in time, I was out for blood. Like, I was a bloodthirsty. I was done. So Johnny's just screaming and crying. I don't want to spoil anyone else in the house on this, although I think the crying and shaking uncontrollably was a pretty good indicator of what was happening. But oh, okay, just left. I just heard the door. Never mind. I'm like, I didn't want to be like, Johnny's crying over Gyro being dead. Because, like, if I can, I don't want to spoil Mr. He-Man. Although, like I said, I think he's put two and two together quite a bit. So yeah, so Johnny's screaming and crying as Gyro just sinks into the water. And the light starts splitting through and, like, coming out of Valentine as he's just, like, heading towards Johnny on a mission. The light bursts around him and Johnny screams and starts getting the spin around his finger. Like, he's readying himself. So he fires at Valentine, but it goes to someone else taking the damage. And in this case, it just happens to be someone who's, like, their friend gets shot while they have to watch them die. And I'm just like, oh my God, the irony. Why? Like, 2 people lost their friends today. Like, good God. So we get this amazing shot of Johnny on his horse, like facing off against Valentine and T4C. It's just like Araki is just sparing absolutely nothing with these panels. Like, he is so at the top of his game. I just want to like take out a moment to say that. So he's saying like he has to make the horse run again to use the spin. So Johnny fires in a slightly different direction, but is making the bullets like slide up towards Valentine. But all that happens is other people take the damage. Like, he says he has to keep the nail bullets from going into that dimensional wall somehow. So he needs to make the horse run to power the rotation. Like, he knows what he has to do. It's just like, we keep doing the same thing. So he's firing. Valentine's already starting to use the water to disappear into, and he keeps firing, and we see like one of the instances of somebody else taking damage. It's really awful, but like, it's like a lion breaking out somewhere and like just like mauling a person, killing them. Like, I'm just like, what is, it's just, at this point, I'm just like in so much shock, and I'm just like, what is happening? So Johnny figures out, he's trying to use the waves, and he fires again. So Valentine deflects it, and slits Johnny's horse's throat. And I'm just like, why? Why? We know why. We know because he knows that the horse has to do with the rotation. But I'm just like, seeing this sweet, innocent horse that's been by our side through everything, now get on top of everything else. Like, really, like, you're really just trying to take away literally everything that Johnny has. Everything. You took his friend, you took his horse, you're taking everything from him. I'm just like, why? So Valentine goes into a speech about how when he was inaugurated as president, this dinner was held in his hometown and they ate the meat of a freshly slaughtered lamb. Again, ironic considering the whole thing is about Jesus. But yeah. He says this will become the happiness of the country. Like, since he's saying that like there are these trials that require offerings and sacrifices, and that all he considers the racers and the people who have died along the way, and even like his wife to be, are like these sacrifices. And he says this will become the happiness of the country, since no misfortune can exist for him now because of the corpse, etc., etc., etc. So Johnny's trying to figure out, like, why did Gyro say lesson 5? What did he mean by that? Johnny's replaying the last words from Gyro in his head, and Valentine is saying, like, go ahead and just shoot. Like, don't you have one bullet left? And so he's trying to provoke him, and Johnny's, like, got the ball in his hand, and it's spinning. Remember the ball that, like, he still had that he picked up? And Valentine's like, what? He had a steel ball, like, huh? Johnny takes the ball and throws it at his own horse. Johnny starts thinking back to lesson 1. Gyro tells him, don't get your hopes up. Your legs moving was just a reflex. Guys, these flashbacks of Gyro. Gyro told us everything we needed to know. He told us everything we needed to know for this moment. He said it was a reflex that happens because of the steel ball. That's what Johnny just did to the horse. He just made his legs move as a reflex. The horse is dead. Or the horse is badly injured. Johnny says, right now, this one steel ball that I didn't give to you is truly a detour. It's truly, truly been a very long and roundabout path. He said roundabout, you guys. Like, you can't do this stuff to me, because he actually said roundabout. And that's not going to be the last reference to something in the anime either, by the way. Like, Araki is just, he's given us a lot of love right now, because I think he knows that we need it. The horse kicks Johnny into the air. Remember how last time I told you, remember that Gyro said that, like, besides the mosquito thing, the leading cause of death is getting kicked by your own horse? Literally told us everything we needed to know. I don't even know if he realized he was doing it, but he left us with everything we needed to know. Lesson 5, all the stuff he told us in the past. The horse kicks Johnny into the air. Johnny explains that he used the horse's power to make the golden rectangle. Once Gyro knew he was going to be defeated, he immediately thought of Johnny's horse being attacked, and he knew that Valentine was going to go for the horse first, which is why he started explaining, this is lesson 5. He knew if he phrased it that way, that Johnny would start thinking back to the other lessons. Johnny himself is now in the perfect golden rectangle with 1 bullet left. And we see the next evolution of Tusk. His standing behind him, ready to go in. Boy, is he scary. We have come so far from the little baby elephant thing. Because Tusk, Act 4, he's a scary mother. He doesn't look like any other stand I can think of. And we've seen some creepy looking stands, don't get me wrong, but there's something about him that looks different and very imposing, very menacing. Finn. It's the end of our batch for today. I knew that when Gyro was saying lesson 5, I knew he was leaving something behind, because that's what all good Joe Bros do, right? They leave something behind for their JoJos to help them win. I didn't realize how deep this actually went until Johnny really started to put it together. That he knew that the horse was going to be targeted. He knew that he was done for. He knew that he could do this to help Johnny, and he told him, this is your last lesson, basically. In other words, think back to all the other lessons. Getting kicked by your horse. The ball just being a reflex on the legs. Everything up to this point, he left it to him. And because of that, Johnny did it. Even without the horse, he's got the perfect golden rectangle, perfect rotation, and his stand evolved. Gyro was literally always there for him when he needed it. Even when he couldn't be there for him, he made sure he was there for him. Like, he knew what he had to know to finish this. And, God, wait until you see what Tusk Act 4 can do, you guys. It is scary awesome. It is so good. This is one of the rare occasions where I've actually read ahead. And let me tell you, I have not finished the part yet, but some of the things I have seen, I think Tusk Act 4 might be one of the most powerful stands ever. You're not going to believe it. Like, I couldn't even, if I told you right now the stuff I know, you wouldn't even believe me. Well, you would if you'd read it, but if you haven't read it, you'd be like, no, I think you really did dream that. Just wait until you see what Tusk Act 4 can do. Like, in this battle, and like, okay. So, in terms of this chapter, I was bummed about everything happening. Gyro just like shooting him on top of everything else. Like, he might have made it out. And that's why he shot him. He just straight up shot him on top of everything else. Seeing him sink like that. Seeing Johnny's reaction was too much. It's really too much. And then the horse he just really wants to tear him down. And I gotta tell you, I think Johnny has been dragged through the mud more than any other JoJo. And I don't say that lightly, because they've all made a lot of sacrifices. You know, Jonathan gave his life, lost his friends, never got to see his family. I was tortured by Dio growing up. Joseph lost his arm and his friend. Jojo lost, good God. Jojo lost, like, pretty much everything over the course of, like, all those parts. Unfortunately, it ended up okay, but still. You know, they've all lost a lot. But I don't remember any of them just being, like, screaming, crying, just, like, broken down. I mean, it really does feel like just all the bad things are happening to him. But we know it doesn't have to be that way, because we know there have been so many times when, like, just when they thought everything was terrible, like, remember back when they had the toast? Remember that? They had lost all the parts, and they barely made it out alive, and they had lost everything. Do you remember when Gyro said, let's make a toast? And they ended up being okay for a while. But he said the thing about the ball on the net then too. Oh, I'm gonna miss him so much. I already miss him so much. I would have given anything for him to make it out of this. I will say, in future chapters, there will be some moments of hope, okay? And I haven't finished the part, so I still don't know what's gonna happen. But I will just tell you, I would say don't give up, but I honestly don't know if I can tell you that and tell you, like, get your hopes up. But maybe, don't give up. Just like the ultimate, like, leaving. I feel like many Jobros have left behind a very key clue, very pertinent kind of like, you need this to win. And Gyro did that too. But I feel like because of the nature of their relationship that, we didn't have an ensemble. We didn't have like we literally had just the two of them just going through everything together, and Gyro kind of taking on this like silly, stupid, amazing, awesome boss, big brother role to Johnny the whole way through, and just like always being the one who lifted him up when he was down. There's just something about it that feels like he gave him the final clue, but he gave him everything. He gave him like the power to change his life. He really did. Oh, I'm gonna miss him so much. If there was just, I gotta tell you, if there was any way, because I have like 3 chapters left, so I really don't know if there was any way to bring him back. But even if there isn't, I gotta tell you, like, he was just the best. He was the best. Even some of the things I was mad at him about, like, he really wasn't trying to be like a jerk about the whole women riding on his horse thing. He's just very thoughtful in his, I guess, beliefs and faith or whatever. That there's a goddess who's always on the back of his horse and he can't let anyone take her place. Oh, I think that's all I got in me for today, you guys. Good batch. Really, really hard batch. I had felt something coming for a while, and I will tell you, based on what I've read past this point, we're gonna have some really, really good times, and we're gonna have some stuff that, like I said, if I told you right now, you would not believe me. You would not believe me. But yeah, we're in the end game now. Johnny, I said Johnny's alone, but you know what? I kind of like to think he's not. I kind of like to think that through everything that he learned from Gyro, he'll never really be alone again. But yeah. Alright, you guys. I think I need to go. I think I need food and a hug. I hope you enjoy reading along with me. It's definitely going to be a very, very, very different world without Gyro, but man, did he just do literally everything, you know? He seriously did not just leave us with one last clue. He changed Johnny's life. He really did. I'm convinced of that. Like, if Johnny hadn't met him, and yes, because of what he taught him and everything too, but honestly, I think Johnny just needed someone like that. He just needed someone to be there for him. Like, think of how he has just been totally, like, abandoned in life. Alright. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you love gratuitous tears. But yeah, there's good reason for him. So, next batch is also going to be really wild because I've actually read everything through next batch already. But I think this is a good stopping place for now, and I like to do my 5 at a time. So, I hope you enjoyed reading, watching along with me. Please, please, we are all going to need each other for the remainder of the series. Let me tell you right now, it's about to get so real up in here. Please be sure to join me next time, and we will watch, read, endure it together. Bye for now, guys.